Wakanda is holding the line against the Annihilation Wave with everything they've got, but they don't want help from Doom's team. They want the Avengers. So what do you do when the only backup available is the ones you don't trust? This one desperate move sets off backstabbing, side missions, new enemies, and even triple agents. Nobody's playing straight anymore, and trust, that left the building. And I'm here to break it all down. Welcome back to Keepin' It Comic, and today we're diving into Superior Avengers issue number 6. And just in case you guys don't remember from the last issue, the Superior Avengers are the ones that released Annihilation to cause this wave. But anyway, this issue starts and we see Shuri doing exactly what she does, being a badass. She's like, a full Annihilation Wave can raise a planet, Okoye, but I refuse to let these pests take the life of even one Wakandan on my watch. With T'Challa off-world, we must hold the line until the Avengers can reach us for additional aid. Okoye's like, we do not have the privilege of being picky at this moment, Princess Shuri. And then we hear what we always tend to hear and we know what's going on. For Doom! Like it or not, the Avengers are here. And this fool Abomination is on Annihilation's back. Yo, I think he might be my favorite one out of this team because he's hilarious. But Onslaught's like, of course, Abomination. Of course. Now, do try to hold Annihilation still before he levels yet another city block. And Doc Ock is like, pretend to care, Superior Avengers. We've got royal eyes on us. Are you nearly in position, Killmonger? Onslaught's good, but Annihilation is a world-ending alien intelligence. And here goes Abomination. Behold the swift edge of Doom's unyielding will. I just see him trying to be so righteous every time, even though he's a bad guy. But Doc Ock's like, he'll only be able to telepathically suppress Annihilation's full strength for so long. And Killmonger's like, Onslaught boasts of being an Omega, does he not? Then let him prove it. And Onslaught's like, I can hear all of this, you know, and I have feelings too. And right before Killmonger jumps into action, she says nihilism isn't a feeling. But I think this is cool, because we get two guards and one of them's like, you are not the Black Panther. You are forbidden from entering this chamber. And Killmonger's like, I go where I please, Dora Milaje. Bow. Stab to the chest. Bow. Kick another in the face at the same time. And I am not your Black Panther. I have the weapon, Olivia. You are sure your negative zone teleporter will not leave me halfway between a wall? And she responds, only one way to find out. But back outside with the fight, our boy Malekith is like, I do so love to pry wings off of. And Annihilation is like, nah, chill, hold this. And he threw Abomination right at him. But Princess Shuri is not impressed. She says, your profane mockery of the Avengers team has failed. Let us hope the real Avengers arrive before Wakanda falls. Doc Ock says, save the histrionics for a moment, Princess. Killmonger, I've coordinated the end portal. You're clear to jump. And just as Annihilation hits the ground and hits his super villain pose, well, he gets stabbed right in his back. Princess Shuri says, Skybreaker is a sacred blade for Wakanda. How did you obtain it? And where are those who vowed to protect it? Killmonger responds, as I am sure you can see, Princess Shuri, there is still a horde of vicious alien bugs swarming the city. There are predators crawling all over your fine city, Princess Shuri. Your gods must have met one they could not survive. But I am not one to let a potent weapon go unwielded. And at this time, Doc Ock has one of the tentacles on Annihilation's head and another looking like a satellite, and says, finding a suitable containment unit for Annihilation will be no small feat. But I'm mimicking his signal well enough to send the rest of the wave back through the portal. Princess Shuri says, do you think it will go unnoticed how soon you arrived after the wave? The very same threat you faced days ago in Washington, D.C. I do not believe in coincidences, Killmonger. And I do not easily trust someone who has taken that name. And she responds, I am not here to earn your trust, Princess Shuri. But believe me when I say, I have more than earned my place in Wakanda. And we get kind of a flashback to the future, so I guess a flash forward. But it says, When my wards informed me that someone at last made it to the heart of the city alive, I had to see for myself. You may consider it cruel maintaining this false oasis in the desert, perpetuating rumors that it offers sanctuary away from my reign. But I consider this quixotic journey something of a test. So please, make yourself known. And out jumps Killmonger, going for a kill. And Doom's like, a child. I should have guessed the tenacity of youth would allow for. And she spits on him, on Dr. Doom. So he sends her flying. Because let's be real, Dr. Doom doesn't care if you're grown, an adult, a baby. You don't disrespect him. And he says, insolence cannot go unpunished, but I do respect fire, passion. I care not whether it stems from hate or love. I can mold it all the same. So tell me, little one, do you wish merely to survive? Or do you have the potential to thrive? And we see the Doombots are helping Wakanda rebuild. And we hear, I hope you will forgive our unauthorized action. I felt that the danger at hand was too great to wait for your mission authorization, especially since we could not reach you, Kristoff. It's not like you to have your communicator off. And he says, yes, my lab often obscures the transmission signal. I empowered you as a field leader because I trust you, Killmonger. And she says, and that is something I do not wish to portray. Surely your father is pleased with the Annihilation Wave repelled by your hand-picked team. You have been essential to assimilating the last nation that held out from his rule. The princess will continue to voice opposition, but there is now a polarity of Wakandans who see the light of Doom. Their government is grateful. They are even considering my proposal of presenting Skybreaker to Doom as a symbol of cooperation. And here goes Abomination. She touches the Doom flesh. How holy her privilege. And even Malekith is like, I didn't take you for the jealous type Abomination. This dude is really a fool. But Kristoff says, my father is busy. A great many matters occupy him these days. I have no doubt he would expect nothing less of me than accomplishments of this scale though. And just then, Doc Ock mutters something. She says, she's making her move. Be prepared, Avengers. And just then, Killmonger pulls out Skybreaker and says, I pity you, Kristoff. I had hoped you might enjoy his approval once before the end. And Kristoff says, the end? And she plunges Skybreaker right into his stomach. And she says, the son of Doom slain by Wakandan's sacred blade. That should be enough to provoke your father's wrath and draw his attention away from us as we complete our true mission. Your error was a place to extract resources, Kristoff. Nothing more, and you were no longer a useful resource. But you played your part in getting us what we need. And for that, I offer you thanks. And he says, what you need to slay your dragon? And she responds, so the ghost did come to you. It is true, Kristoff. A monster awaits us in our own time. But we broke free of that yoke of doom and will not suffer his patronage again. Better to face a monster than live under a tyrant. And we get to see some of what she went through, and it was brutal. Doom says, you will not easily win my favor, child. Few of my acolytes survive the training arena. And you can see, it looks hectic. And then we skip even more forward and she's like, by order of Doom, this camp is violating sovereign territory. Raze it to the ground. And then we skip even more forward and she says, there, the last of the Iron Corps. Resistance in the Western Hemisphere should be non-existent now, Lord Doom. And he responds, you really disappoint me, Killmonger. It is, as I hoped. And you can see it looks like she has an Iron Man mask. So she's clearly been through some stuff. And he finishes this by saying, I raised you in my own image. But back in present time, the Avengers are going through one of those portals. And Doc Ock says, it's time to go. The Wakandans will notice I blacked out surveillance in the chamber. I've alerted a fleet of Doombots. They'll find Kristoff and alert Doom. We shouldn't be here when that happens. And Killmonger says, for what little it's worth, Kristoff, you never stood a chance. But neither did I. And as she walks away and our boy's just dying off, I gotta think, she was just giving our man some a few issues ago. Our boy was probably in love, and now he's sitting there dying. But before he can die, Ghost shows up out of nowhere. She says, is there any point not letting you bleed out? Or will your dad kill both of us when he finds out what just went down? And he says, can't think of that right now. Grab the blade. She says, every file in Ghost's archive advises against removing an object in a puncture wound. And he says, that's because her files knew nothing of magic. I can staunch most of the damage Killmonger caused. Whether she meant to or not, she did not hit my spine. Now help me up. We've got to follow them. And she says, why? Why do you care? They're returning to rule a future you'll never experience. A world only I will mourn. You can tell your father Annihilation bugs ate them all and lose nothing. And he says, why, Ghost? You said it to me once before. I am the son of doom. Pride is reason enough. But back at Kristoff's lab, Doc Ock is like, gentle, some of us still have skin attached to our bones. We'll only get one attempt at sending the fully charged arcane warhead through the time platform to the precise time and location. I prefer it not detonate in our faces prematurely. Onslaught's like, if you'd like to lift it with your octopus arms, you're more than welcome to try. Malekith, with his twisted mind, is like, it's so exhilarating to stand on the tipping point between triumph and obliteration. And Killmonger's like, we seek different thrills, Malekith. Doc Ock says, adequate. Now everyone back up. And Abomination has a look in his eyes. She says again, I said back up, Abomination. I'm about to start the sequencing. Malekith says, my. Do we have a mutiny on our bloodstained hands? Killmonger says, Onslaught, do not let him. And Abomination lifts up the shield and smashes the machine. Doc Ock says, what did that idiot do? Killmonger says, we never should have accepted a Doom loyaltist into our ranks. Malekith says, I don't think it's Doom to who our Dell little friend pledges his fealty. And just then, his eyes go black and we see that symbol on his forehead. And he says, embrace annihilation. Embrace the end of all things. And we get a flashback of Abomination who's covered by debris. And he's like, no, get off, my mask. And we can see one of the little bugs going into his mouth. And Killmonger says, Abomination, Bullseye, Yellow Jacket, and Crossbones are dead. Are you still with us? And he gets up and says, I am across time and space. Annihilus is forever. Killmonger says, no, the dragon followed us here. This is not possible. Doc Ock says, the old man is getting the last laugh after all. He told us when we killed him, he was the only thing standing between us and our annihilation. And we can see Annihilus coming out of Abomination's mouth. And this is just getting crazy and hectic because we already seen from the future timeline, this version of Annihilus is a monster. So this is just even more crazy. Abomination's not Abomination no more. The Annihilation Wave just went from bad to end of everything levels. And the Superior Avengers might have finally pushed things too far. So the question now is, who's actually gonna make it out of this alive? And who's just about to get swallowed whole? Drop your theories in the comments. Hit the link tree for merch and all the extra content. Smash that like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next part. And as always, thanks for kicking it with Keeping It Comic. I'll catch y'all on the next one.